As previously predicted, the DP signed an agreement today to form an opposition coalition with 8 other political parties, with DP Chair Basha declaring the main aim is to prevent false elections. Citing the reasons of absence of legal representation and the request for additional time due to the significant size of the evidence file, the hearings for Balili and the Shulazi group have been postponed. Today is World Book Day, and as such, at the Faculty of History and Philosophy, lecturers took the opportunity to underline the challenges literature is facing in current-day Albania. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 23rd of April 2019. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to RTV Ora's English edition. My name is Alexandra, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. As the Central Election Commission closed the curtain on the registration of political parties wishing to participate in the June 30th local elections, 8 opposition parties have signed an agreement declaring their commitment not to take part. The Democratic Party's representation has signed the 10-point pact, which was initially made with the Republicans led by Fatmir Mediu. Then Agron Duka for the Environmentalist Agrarian Party, Vanjel Dule for the Unity of Human Rights Party, and Nard Ndoka for the Demo-Christian Party also signed the agreement. Adding to the list was then Dashamir Shehi for the Movement of National Development, Shpetim Idrizi for the Party for Justice, Integration and Unity, and finally Monika Kruemadi for the SMI. The agreement underlines that the signatory parties of this coalition will register for elections only after it has been determined that conditions for free and fair elections have been created. According to the coalition, the only way this could occur is through the formation of a transitional government which receives a special interim mandate. The pact declares the responsibilities of the coalitions as follows: returning to political legitimacy of local government through the realisation of snap elections, preparing free and fair elections at both parliamentary and local levels for Albania, realising the electoral reform and pursuing its implementation with a particular focus on breaking the link between politics and crime, combating the massive phenomena of vote buying, preventing criminal intimidation of voters, and eliminating inequality among political parties involved, creating a climate of trust in implementing justice reform outside any political interference, and creating the necessary conditions to accelerate the start of Albania's accession negotiations with the European Union. The agreement also states that the signatories will not allow fast elections organised by the government of Edi Rama, a stand which was particularly emphasised by Monika Kruemadi. Once again, the DP chair, Lulzim Basha, underlined the allegations made against the majority. "We will never accept a false election process dictated by crime, as false elections produce false parliament and false government," explained Basha. The DP chair went on to add that talks to expand the coalition even further will continue, and he didn't spare a message for Astrid Patosi, a member of the newly formed Democratic Conviction Party either, nor any of the other opposition MPs who chose to accept their mandates. "Of course, there can be no fake opposition," retorted Democratic Party chair Lulzim Basha. Although second-tier banks are obliged to use a signaliser or colourant to mark bills during transportation processes, it seems not all of them are adhering to this regulation. In regards to the cash obtained during the heist at Renus, the Governor of the Bank of Albania, Gent Sejko, advised that it is known that only some banks apply these rules, while the GPS tracker determines only that the cash arrived safely at the airport. To my knowledge, some of them were utilising GPS. Of course, the GPS data indicates that the cash arrived at the airport, but cannot provide any further details since these are post-factum events. It should be noted that institutions must apply all the legally required measures to ensure that such events are not repeated in the future. Such events have not only a financial impact on foreign investors, but also a negative impact on the image of the country, declared Gent Sejko. At this stage, there is still no trace of the 10 million euros cash stolen during a heist from Tirana's Renus airport. According to Gent Sejko, such events are costly in the image of the country in terms of both investments and also in regards to the financial capacities of the banks. At the end of a meeting of the Economics Commission, during which the Bank of Albania's report for 2018 was presented, Governor Gent Sejko responded to the media's interest at the robbery at Renus, which occurred on the 9th of April. The Bank of Albania, as a licensing institution, is responsible for the minimum requirements that the bank has for their facilities. Regarding the transport of such monetary values, there is an institution of the Ministry of Interior which has also been tasked with strengthening security. The last event occurred at the airport premises and not during the transportation itself. The measures taken are regulatory changes that we have reinforced, and of course, our direct responsibility is to monitor the implementation of bank security in their premises, said Seiko. He added that the banks are well capitalised and able to cope with financial situations, even from losses or shocks such as this. These statements by the Governor of the Bank of Albania were made after reporting to the Economics Commission, during which he also pointed out that the current political crisis is detrimental to the economy. The Court of Serious Crimes and the Relative Appeals Court have again postponed the hearings for Balili and the group led by Emiliano Shulazi. The postponement of the hearing for Balili, who was present at the hearing, was due to the lawyer's request, Theodori Solaku, who asked to be acquainted with the evidentiary file, which contains more than 1,100 pages. The court decided to hold the next session on May 7th. Meanwhile, the Serious Crimes Court has, for the 7th time, postponed the Shulazi hearing because of the absence of Gilmando Dani's lawyer, Denion Bogdani, and also due to the defendant, Blerim Shulazi's request for the removal of the body's head judge, Saida Dolani, from the case. A debate between Blerim Shulazi and Judge Dolani broke out, during which Shulazi called out, "You should not judge me," which is understood to be a statement made on the grounds that she has presided over a previous trial for this particular defendant. Regarding the adjudication of the case in the appeals of serious crimes, new appointments to the trial panel have been made due to the dismissal of Fehmi Petku as a result of failing the vetting process. Given the changes to the trial panel, the process must now recommence from the beginning, with decisions made in past sessions unable to be taken into account. In November 2018, the Serious Crimes Court found Emiliano Shulazi guilty of embezzlement of property, issuing threats against life and being part of a structured criminal group. He was sentenced to 14 years imprisonment. His collaborator, Gilmando Dani, was sentenced to 12 years in prison, while Endrit Chucha and Endrit Zela were sentenced to 10 years and Blerim Shulazi to 9 years. Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Belinda Baluku, is still yet to make progress with the special status for miners. The draft for the miners' status proposed by the miners has still not been sent by the Ministry of Energy to the Ministry of Finance, despite their promises, as such leaving the situation at a deadlock. Meanwhile, the miners themselves continue to protest, seeking their rights, which were promised to them long ago. The miners have called on the government to not remain silent about the case. The miners' status still seems to be a faraway promise, not only for those who already rely on it, but also for those who are currently working in the mines. World Book and Copyright Day is a celebration to promote the enjoyment of books and reading. Each year, on the 23rd of April, celebrations take place all over the world to recognise the magical power of books, a link between the past and the future, a bridge between generations and across cultures. In Albania, this day has found the art of literature facing somewhat of a societal crisis. The chief of the Department of Literature at the Faculty of History and Philosophy, Lili Sula, says that the rate at which the youth are turning their backs on reading is an alarming problem. Lili Sula adds that there is no government financial support to promote activities for increasing youth interest in books. In the activity developed under the framework of the World Book Day, pedagogue Durrata Shehri focused on the quality of literature nowadays, expressing that more recent publications often leave much to be desired. Minister of Culture, Elva Margariti, has been in this post for 4 months now, but has not taken any initiatives to increase the focus on books. Despite this, she did not hesitate to make promises. The fair was held at the Faculty of History and Philosophy, where about 30 publishing houses offered low-cost books for students. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of RTV Ora, thank you and good night.